Well, hello there, fabulous people. Merry Christmas and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm so delighted to be sharing with you my very own Christmas cake recipe. I'm going to be showing you my tips and tricks on how to get this very dark, rich color and texture. So, without wasting any time, get your cup of tea ready and let's get started. I'm going to begin first of all with my wet ingredients. So, onto my pot, I'm adding some butter, some dark brown soft sugar. I'm going to be adding a juice of one whole orange and a juice of one whole lemon. So I'm just squeezing that freshly and I'm going to add that straight onto the pot. Don't worry if you missed anything. I'm going to make sure to put all of my ingredients and the exact measurements in my description box below. So I'm throwing in all of the juice that I've just squeezed. And now, if you remember from our previous video, we made these dried fruits. These fruits have been soaking in rum and brandy and they're so mature and absolutely perfectly ready. So I'm going to measure out 850 grams of these mixed dried fruits and we're going to simply throw it straight onto the pot, adding it onto the other ingredients. At this point, I'm going to put it on my stove and just simply bring it to the boil. It's going to simmer on very low heat for about 5 minutes until all the butter is nicely melted. I'm just going to simply mix it. It only takes about 5 minutes and it's absolutely perfectly ready. So I'm going to leave it to cool down for about 40 minutes or so. Once it's completely cool, then we will continue with it. But in the meantime, we're going to prepare our dry ingredients. So on here I've got 400 grams of self-raising flour. I've just added cinnamon, nutmeg, mixed spice, orange zest and also lemon zest onto my flour, and I'm going to simply mix it all together. Now once we've mixed everything together, we'll simply set it aside for now. So it's been about 40 minutes and the wet ingredient is now completely cooled down. So I'm simply throwing it into my mixing bowl. I'm using 3 large eggs for this cake. So I'm going to just whisk this and I'm going to mix a little drop of vanilla and just whisk it all together. Just pour this straight into the wet mix and just use a spatula and just bring everything together simply. Now I'm adding 1 heaped tablespoon of treacle. Treacle is simply molasses. It is made of sugar cane and it gives it that nice dark rich color and texture, which is just exactly what we need for this Christmas cake. I'm going to mix everything together. Once it is well combined, I'm going to simply add all of the dry ingredients, which is the flour and spices that we mixed earlier on. Just simply mix this together. Just take a look at that lovely dark texture and color. That's exactly what you want to achieve. Now just mix this nicely together. And we're going to bake it. So I'm going to scoop every single one of these into my pre-lined baking tin. I'll just put everything straight in and I've preheated my oven to 170 degrees Celsius and we're going to bake this cake for 1.5 hours straight. Now for the first 45 minutes of baking, I'll leave it open. After 45 minutes, I'm going to cover the top with foil, just to prevent it from burning at the top. After a total of 90 minutes, the cake is completely baked and it's ready. Now I like to leave the cake inside of the baking tin for about half an hour to 40 minutes or so to completely cool down. Once it's cooled down, I'm going to feed the cake with some cherry brandy. So what I'm gonna do is simply poke a few holes around the cake. And then I'm going to use a spoon to put a few drops of the cherry brandy all around the cake. This will really be helpful in keeping the cake nice and moist, and it would last for months and months. You can literally have this cake for months. The older it gets, the more mature it is and the more intense the flavor. So I've kept it down to cool down for another half an hour or so, and just have a look at that lovely dark rich color and moisture. It's got that perfect little cracks all around it, which is absolutely perfect and exactly what you need for a Christmas cake. Remember, I'm going to leave all of the ingredients and exact measurements in my description box below. Now, if you're not going to be icing your cake, this is it. Just wrap it in cling film and foil and store it away. So what I like to do is every once in a week or twice a week or so, I'll just feed it with a little bit of cherry brandy, and it would last you for months and months. So you can just keep it in any airtight container and just store it away until you're ready. But because I'm going to be icing my cake, I'm using my homemade marzipan. So I'm going to be icing my cake. If you haven't seen my marzipan recipe yet, I'm going to leave the link of this in my description box below, so have a look at that later on. So I'm going to simply roll this marzipan to a thickness of 1 centimeters. I'm going to be using the same baking tin because I'm intending to ice just the top of my cake. So I'm going to simply use a knife and cut a circle around the marzipan. That's just what I need. Once that's ready, we'll just got the perfect circle that we need, and we'll set it aside for now. And I'm also using fondant. I'm using a store-bought fondant for this one. So I'm going to just simply, just the same way as the marzipan, simply roll to the thickness of 1 centimeters. I'm going to also use the baking tin, the same baking tin that we used in baking the cake, just because I'm decorating just the top of my Christmas cake. So I'll simply cut around in a circle, just the same as the marzipan. And that's it. Once you've got the perfect circle, it's time for us to decorate the Christmas cake. So I'm going to be decorating my Christmas cake, but before then, I like to put a little bit of apricot jam just around to seal in the moisture and to also help the marzipan and fondant to stick properly on. So I'm going to put the layer of the circle that we cut out of the marzipan, just push it down nicely all around the edges, making sure everything is layered properly. And I also like to use a little syrup on top before putting the fondant on top of it. Any white spirit would do, anything vodka or just any syrup at all would do. And now I'm going to place the fondant straight on top of the marzipan and push it down nicely. Now you can decorate your Christmas cake with holly or berry, or a bit of both, whichever you prefer. And because it's Christmas, I like a bit of red ribbon just around the bottom of the cake. And that's it. Our Christmas cake is ready. Thank you all so much for watching. Remember, I'm going to leave all of my ingredients and the exact measurements in my description, so be sure to check out that. Merry Christmas to you all in advance. I hope you can like this video, share it with your friends and family, And if it's your first time visiting us today, please subscribe to my channel as well. Have a very happy Christmas, and I can't wait to see you all again soon in the new year. Thank you all so much for watching. Goodbye.